Gang's all here.
Gang's all here.
Wow, look at us go.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the time is 6:01. We do have a quorum.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. I will call to order the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for Thursday, May 15th. And I will call roll. Anyone not here, let me know. Okay, everyone's here. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry.
Oops, sorry. Next item is the approval of today's meeting agenda. Everything's in good shape. If they're, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for today.
A
Motion,
second.
a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved, unanimous. In front of you is the meeting minutes from Thursday, April 17th, dutifully prepared by staff. Got a chance to look at it. If there's any comments or changes, let me know. Otherwise, we will entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Motion by Morgan,
I'll second.
the second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. The next item, Tom, is public comment. Do we have any general public comment today?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move into committee reports. Let's lean into staff. We'll start with baseball. Thomas, what can you tell me there? Other than the rain they had.
Yeah, we were delayed a little bit on our championship Saturday for our spring season, but we've carried on to this week and looking to finish it up at the beginning of next week, actually. So that'll put a completion date on the spring season, and we'll move right into our summer all-stars as well as our mini hitters program coming up towards the end of the month. That will run through the month of June.
Yeah, I saw the Sandlot registration went out, so that's awesome. Super. Eagle Sticks.
Not a lot to report. I think most of the rec seasons have wrapped up. They were successful. All went well. And now we have two of our high school girls teams playing in the state championship on Saturday. And I would say probably 98 or 9% of those girls are all a product of Eagle Sticks. So that's pretty cool.
Proud mom.
Yeah, it's great.
Got it. Boys lacrosse.
Everything is smooth. Season ended, no issues. And
Awesome. Love to hear that.
Yep.
Football. Stephanie.
Yep, registration closes today, I believe. And I'm happy to report that NAFL has reached a provider agreement with City of Alpharetta. So
Awesome.
all good.
That's great to hear. Halftime sports, basketball.
Not much to report. Registration is open. Camp starts first week of June, and it will be held at Shoot 360 the entire summer.
Great. Swim team.
Started this week with practice. We have our pizza party tomorrow night. Our mock meet is next Friday. That gives us a chance to kind of figure out how everything's working. And then there'll be 3 home meets. I think they're heavily loaded towards the back end of the season, but we got 200 swimmers. So
That's
it's
awesome.
a good number because last year was a little many.
The pool must be
225.
warmer this year than
It's not warm.
Really? Wow. How about that? Okay. I have nothing to share about tennis. Thomas, you got anything?
No report.
Okay. Youth arts programming.
All right, in Matthew's absence, I will provide the report there. Summer camps are doing well on the Kid Create side, and art with Ronnie is also going well. She's going to be switching over to the instructor agreement, but things are going well there. Theater classes are also doing well for the summer registrations as well. So good things to report on that.
That's awesome. How about adult programming?
For adult programming, we have our Rush Union adult soccer program winding down their spring season here in the upcoming weeks. with no time off to kick it right into the summer season coming up next month. As far as additional adult programming, we do have our Petanque registration for the fall season for their instructional classes coming up soon. So be on the lookout for that for fall registration.
Great. Thanks, Thomas. Camp Joyful Souls.
Camp Joyful Souls getting very close to camp time. Actually met with our manager today. We're getting everything, all of our documents and paperwork in order. We're very excited. We've increased from 30 to 35, so we were able to get a handful off the wait list for each of our 7 weeks. So we are at capacity at 35 with a full staff, and looking forward to our training days coming up at the end of the month, and then we'll start right fresh on June 2nd on Monday.
That's awesome. Super. Glad to hear that. Summer day camp.
Summer day camp, really nothing new to report since last month. Camp's still full. Got a full staff. Training, same as Camp Joyful Souls. We're locked and loaded, ready to go. I'm pinch hitting for Matthew till he gets back. So kind of cool to put my programming hat on again.
Awesome.
But things are going well.
What day does that start? June
June
Second, right?
2nd also?
Said second.
You did, yeah.
Same.
Same.
Monday,
Same.
June 2nd.
Super. Thanks, Tom. And then lastly, outdoor recreation programming.
The NOC summer camp that goes down the Chattahoochee. Still looking for some kids in there. One of the camps is doing fine and has good registration. The other one we can still take some more. But we also have time. It's not till July.
Yep.
So we got the trail mix hike coming up, and I don't have that date memorized. Is that next weekend?
May 31st.
Okay, May 31st. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, she's, Jen's of course got a lot of things in the cooker, but as far as programming, that kind of sums it up right now.
Great. Super. Thanks for committee reports. Next item is unfinished business, of which there is none on the agenda. So we will move to item 8A, new business, consideration of the final conceptual design plan for the Deerfield Park.
I'm going to run up to the front. It's on
Okay.
It's on the right. Oops.
Is that bugging you?
Bugging me.
Thanks, Emily.
I did
Not here at all.
ask if it was the right one.
Thomas.
Jason, after all
Thomas,
these years.
where are those? Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Here we go. All right.
Last time we talked, was this the same one that we had talked about being bigger? It was. For some reason, in my mind, it was this one. There's still only, we got space.
That's the
there.
only
Yeah, the
space
space we've
to-
got. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Good evening, Parks and Rec Board. I'm here to share our final concept for the Deerfield Active Park. What you see in front of you, a lot of it is not new. So I'm gonna touch on everything, but I'm gonna spend some more time on the new concepts that you maybe haven't seen or are a little more recent within the project. In this concept, we still have our 4 diamonds and 2 rectangular fields. The biggest change that was a good surprise was the parking. We were able to we kind of dialed in the parking a little bit more. We got 301 spots up from the original estimated 250, which is a huge increase. And it's gonna really reduce the need for going into the neighboring property, which on Monday night at council, I do have the agreement going in front of council. So we do have the parking knocked out and resolved.
Great.
Which is
Congrats
great.
on that.
Awesome.
As we pull in and go left towards the baseball fields, we do have the same 4 baseball fields, except with a little bit of a tweak. You'll see on the instead of going directions, because this is not north, south, east, west. The top right field, we do have the left and right fields kind of squared off a little bit. And that allows us to get some more multi-use out of it. And it does fit a small-sided lacrosse field within that diamond. So if that diamond's not being utilized, the lacrosse teams can go out there and actually have a regulation small-side field to play on. There is also the 275 field. Once we get deeper into design, I'm probably going to look at getting the outfield fence taller so it can play more like a high school field, and we can get older kids into the program and have an official field for them to play on. But when you're looking at this baseball side, the biggest changes are what's in the middle, in the little atrium area of all those fields. We moved the playground. I didn't like it kind of tucked in the back. So we moved it. So it's one of the first things you see when you walk in, and it's more centrally located so parents can watch the games and keep an eye on their kid. And it's not in between two fields where the storage building number 3 is.
Is the playground the little square there in the middle, or is it
The playground is
purple
the
thing?
round one.
Red
Here, let me
one.
see if I can zoom in.
Kind of red.
Purple, the round.
It's the
round
purple,
one.
okay, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. So 5 is the playground, 2 is the restroom and concessions, and then 3 is a storage building.
Yep.
And 3 is where the playground originally was. So we
Yep.
shifted it around so it was all more central.
Makes better sense.
We didn't lose any batting cages, which is great. And another huge plus and bonus was number 15 here. We now have another entry and exit in and out of the park to relieve some congestion here. And there was a little concern about cars stacking coming out after games were over. So now we have 2 ways to get out from that side of the park.
Yep.
What are the dimensions of that 275 field going across the outfield? Is there
I'm not sure I understand the question.
so,
I get what you're asking.
You're asking if you can get 2 fields on there?
no, I'm asking if you could get one full
One?
Like
field rectangle in the outfield if you flip that triangle the other, or that square the other way. Would it be long enough?
No, it's the same both ways.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's the second number 13 on there?
We'll get there. Yeah, there's 2 number 13s. Yeah, one's the bridge. There's a bridge that should be labeled 14.
Should be
That's at the
14.
entrance.
Yep.
And it was labeled 13 mistakenly. So right here, this
Should be 14.
should be labeled 14.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Are these baseball fields entirely turfed?
Yes.
Okay.
In the cost estimates, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So as we move,
Tom, remind me before we walk away. So the 200 fields, those are elevated from the ground level when you walk in, or they're below?
below,
Below.
they should be below.
Okay, just wanted to make everybody aware.
So you
So
have
that's
some,
like,
so you'll be able to see. It's almost like Bell.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
look
just
down.
like Bell, where you're like
Yep.
looking down onto the field.
Yep. Cool.
And the other 2 are at ground level?
Yes.
Perfect.
They are.
It's almost exactly like Bell, right?
Mhm.
Those 2 are down. and-
We can, of course, come back to baseball too if anything else pops in your head. But I'm going to move down. So this field here, the big change was we have the field bump. You might not even notice, but there was a little grass area, a little grass patch in between the sidewalk and the field. We put it all together so that there's not another little area here. We could get a little bit more out of the field.
So that makes
It
the
made it-
width of the field a little bit bigger. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a regulation
It's, you're
field.
still not running, you're not running a full side game that way, that direction. But it still helps. And then, let's see, nothing changes. I'm just running through it here and I want to make sure I catch everything. So when we're looking at the estimated cost, when we're looking at this larger field, this area, number 12, is graded out and the underground detention is in place, but the field is not turfed. So there's an additional cost, and I'll show it on the projector here. I just got it, so we already had put it out there. So there's going to be an additional cost to turf it and light it. The additional number 12 here.
That small field? I mean, that's
Yeah,
the small
that's small
sided?
field, correct. But it is a full small side lacrosse field that does fit there. So
Similar
you could
to
go
the-
4 across on this
So
field.
one at Legacy, that first field, is it about the same size as that?
It's longer.
Oh,
So you get an extra 4th field. Legacy has
Wow.
3
right. okay.
running
Yep.
So
opposite direction.
there's a possibility that does not get turfed?
There's a well, it's an ad alternate. So we're going to grade it out so it's ready for turf because it's a little over $500,000 to turf it and have it lit.
Okay,
So if budget comes in and it's too high, we can pull it out and then just be ready to turf it
Got it.
anytime
When we have
after
the
once
money.
Got it,
once
yeah.
we can budget for it.
That's great.
okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
We did, as we go to the kind of ancillary other recreation components, we come to the north side of the park here. We were able to get the all-inclusive playground, and it's got a much larger footprint than the original plans did, which I think is important. The splash pad and the pickleball all in there. So every piece that we had discussed as the high priority from the public input and from this board and council is all in this concept. Now, once we get to the cost estimates, again, the base plan is just the fields. So every little piece outside of the fields will be an add-on, and we'll bid it out that way. So if things come in lower and within budget, we'll pick and choose what we want to put in. Let's see, the pickleball courts, they got shifted around into a different shape to allow for the splash pad and the inclusive playground, but we still got the 8 courts. We are going to need number 10 now, the connection to the neighboring property, because we do have the parking agreement in place. So that was an add-on feature
Right.
that we're going to have
Now
to
it's a
just
need.
say yes to.
Yep.
But what a great
So there's a
problem.
parking
Good job.
over there? What
To
is
the
that?
right, to down and right here, we've got a parking agreement with that. It's the old City Hall complex on Deerfield 13.
Oh, okay.
And we've got an agreement to be able to use that parking lot.
the
And we've actually
greatest
mapped out
parking,
150
The weight of the
spaces.
building.
Yeah.
Got it.
But we can, if we ever
Oh, I
needed
see.
more, they're okay with that. So as far as the design goes, that covers
A lot of ground.
everything that we've got. We've got the connection bridge here. Council was very supportive of that and definitely wanted that in the plan. So we've got that there, and then we still have that connection to Fry's
Are
as a
we,
possibility.
is the city trying to acquire that building? Is that happening? No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. I
Okay,
think it's.
can't really answer to that anyways, but
sure, okay. There will be access to go through there.
Right.
Got
That
it.
all falls to Bob and the Deerfield
Yeah,
implementation plan.
I
What's
know-
going to be on the other side of the wall.
The Fry's folks have come to us with plans
Okay,
for mixed use, development.
That's on Bob. That's on the other team. Yeah. Tom, do you want to talk about the bridge and how it touches that field?
Yeah, so there's the fields are elevated over the drive as you pull in here. So imagine you're pulling in and you're almost like coming through a tunnel-ish from the left and right, and then you'll go up to field level.
Right.
So to connect the two sides of the park, rather than having the only crossing point from side to side right here, they put a bridge to go across the entranceway. And it goes on, and the bridge goes onto the field. So we'll look at a way to get where there will be a sidewalk there, and then the field will be next to you. So you're not competing a game potentially with, a little toddler walking across, and then whoop, you just
Yeah,
jump onto the
that
field.
could-
Right.
Not to mention it's dangerous if you've got a lacrosse game going on and
right.
balls flying.
Right.
So that's something we'll address down the road. But either way, it's going to be almost impossible to connect it to the sidewalk below because of how far down it is. So we're going to look at how we can just keep it on field level and just
Yep.
continue down.
Fair enough.
So at this point, I'll open up to any more questions from the board, and then we can move into the opinion of cost.
Questions,
from the
comments
consultant.
about the concept as it's played out? You guys have done a really nice job of putting the Jenga puzzle together to
Yeah.
get all the pieces.
I was very pleased with
Yes.
Yeah.
this
I mean-
design generally. It's
I
got
love it.
Yep, you guys and working with Wit have done a nice job of making all the pieces fit. This is really nice.
Bravo. And I like that additional number 12.
yes.
Yeah, that's great. Hopefully they can squeeze that in the budget right away. That would be great. How does that middle rectangle compare to 1 and 2 at Bell as far as the field itself and like the amount of space around
It's
it,
gonna
the
be smaller.
perimeter?
It's going to be smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will there be enough room around it for, jogging, warm up, like small sided, but it's hard to tell from.
Yeah, I mean, there
The
will be
rendering.
space. I mean, there will be the safety zones on all the sides of the field.
Okay.
It's a small field. It's all the park really, the land could really fit.
Right,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
But the field's regulation.
It's close to like that minimum size, like
Yep.
this is just a small.
Okay.
The
But
f-
it's a
the-
regulation size field.
The field
correct?
is
Okay,
regulation. It's
okay.
just, there's not
It
going to
is.
be
Okay,
space around the
got it.
sides.
Okay.
Correct.
And then, so outside of the fields, is that all turfed in there? Am I assuming, or is that grassed?
Outside the fields?
Yeah, like, so
Correct.
outside the white lines, is that whole space going to be turfed? See what I'm saying?
Anything that's like the light green color is going to be grass. Tell me if I'm hot or cold.
Okay. So
Like
I
this
think I
could all be
understand.
grass.
But like
grass.
inside
All the,
Grass.
all the dark green in
is
the
is
rendering will be
turf.
turf.
Like
yes.
where,
Oh, everything
Yeah,
inside
yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah. Yes.
Everything
Oh,
inside.
yeah. Everything, that's all fenced in turf. Yes.
Got it.
And here too, this is all turf.
So you got a nice little warm up area there too.
Mhm.
There's a lot more space on the other field.
Mhm.
Yes.
That makes that number 12 kind of
Mhm.
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah, this is something that I've seen as, my kids play soccer, there's a lot of parks that just will have, this odd space. They'll just turf it,
And people use it.
go right up to the parking lot with it.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I guess it could be a scheduling thing too, right? Just put a little more gap between the
Oh, of
games
course.
to do your
Warm-ups.
Warm
Yeah.
up.
warm-ups
Right.
rather than warming up outside the field pregame. You're
Right.
build it. Now that you got
That's
extra
something-
fields, you've got a little capacity to stretch out the schedule a little bit.
Now that we have more fields, we
Yeah.
can do that. and-
Well, and if baseball is not being utilized now that they're turf and not dirt, they could warm up on a baseball field
That's right.
if they had
Possibly,
to.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
But if you're doing proper scheduling, you leave.
It should.
40 minutes between games and you warm up for 30 of them and then
Yep.
the team's already cleared out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you'll have that benefit with the extra
Additional
fields.
space.
Good.
Cool.
Shall we move into the
Let's talk about the
Opinion of-
pieces. Yeah.
probable cost? All right. I'm going to have to put it on this projector here. So
Okay. So we can.
sorry, you're going to have to look at some of my chicken scratch too because I wanted to give myself.
You could answer my phone, by the way.
And this is just for those watching online. You have the Thomas. You did print out the latest one. For
Yep, we got the current, the updated one.
So yours is what is in front of you is correct, but for those viewing online, I want
Follow along. Yeah,
to so they can follow along.
right.
I think we have AV here.
Yeah,
So we
right.
get them up here.
Full support. We can't, you guys are good, but
There we go.
I know where your limitations are. Trying to.
I think I said everything right.
Yeah, they're doing something. it's Thursday night. I forget they do stuff.
Cornhole, I think.
Oh, maybe.
Stuff a couple
That's
different
fun.
places. They do something over there too.
Definitely.
For those watching at home, just be patient with us while Tom is getting the the opinion of probable cost put on the screen for y'all.
I think he's going to try to flip it one more time.
Time for the theme from Jeopardy.
That's right.
They want to sing?
All right, we got a plan. 1 minute or less.
Okay.
Thomas has it on his computer. We're going to put it on a USB. Again, apologies for the delay here.
That's right. No problem.
This is the right way anyway. Here we go. This one? This should be it. Okay. Switched over, we'll be good.
Perfect.
All right. So what we're looking at here is the opinion of probable cost from our consultants that have put this design together. So I want to kind of orient you with whatever one of these lines mean. The base project, like I mentioned earlier, is just infrastructure and fields. And it does not include that extra space on the field to the right.
Number 12.
Over the detention.
Yep.
Number 12.
What I need you to focus on is this total number. This is what they estimate that each one of these items will cost. They really itemize it by subtotal, and then the contractor markup and fees. That's typical and normal. So just look at that total number, and then the far to right is just, hey, in case we run into issues, this is going to be a 10% and 20% contingency on these different lines. So 21,329. So basically almost 21,400 really. That's just the base for the park. Now we do have the ability, some of this can be funded through T-Splost, because we're talking about a road connection through. But we don't really have numbers yet on what that could be. The connection bridge, something that has been expressed as a want for sure. That came in at just under 500,000. And then the connection boardwalk, I'm going out of order on purpose. And then there's the boardwalk connection to the adjacent property, which is E at 329. So those are kind of the three must-haves that we're going to need upfront, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just to give you an idea, those three combined are just over 22 million, 22,154. And then you're looking at, we've got the pickleball splash pad, both, 450 for the pickleball courts, 882 for the splash pad, and then 556 for the extra turf space. And there is the additional boardwalk bridges. Let me pull that back up so you can see. That is this here, going over the spring head that we're avoiding in the design. Number 9. And so that's another 750.
Yep.
So the good news is when we go out to bid for this, all these ad alternates are going to be, they bid for everything, and then we can pick and choose once the real numbers come in as to how we want to proceed. But it looks like at bare bones we're at 22 million, unless some bid comes in low.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go through the project, we'll be able to sharpen our pencil on some of these and hopefully bring some of these estimates down. But this is where we're at this moment in the process. And as they start really engineering it out, we'll know more. I'm not going to say this is a worst case scenario number, but they're not going to come in low up front.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we've got a starting point around 22 and an all-in almost 25.
You got it. And
Yeah.
Done.
And
With no
what happens if we hit rock
Yeah.
that we haven't found yet, or
Right.
turf prices come in way higher, or
Yep.
there's things that you're likely going to hit and run into. Right?
Sure.
So
Want to open up public comment?
ready?
And then we'll
Any
come
other
back to
discussion before we
questions
go to
and
public comment?
comments and how we want to move forward.
All right. I will call up to the podium John Lundstedt. And as always, name and address.
Yeah.
And we'll get you 5 minutes.
All right. John Lundstedt, 15755 Burdett Court. So actually a couple positive things. I listened to the city council meeting a couple weeks ago where Tom and Lois went through the iteration previous to this, but it was after a couple of the open houses and iterations like that. And one of the city council members said, and everyone in city council agreed, we have to get the fields right. We have to get the fields right. Everything else is secondary. Pickleball, splash pads, pavilions are secondary. Let's get the fields right. That's the first time I've heard that. And that's what I've been saying in my 80 friends who went online and responded to that survey. That's all we're saying. Get the fields right. The second thing is, and now we're seeing multi-use fields. That wasn't on the first couple of iterations. In Milton, multi-use fields are critical. And we know this. A couple months ago, my daughter went up to Bell to play lacrosse, and Hopewell was having their tryouts. And they were using all 4 diamonds and every inch of the 2 rectangles. And that's a great thing. That is a great thing that Hopewell baseball is growing so big that they have to take the full park. There is nothing wrong with that. But thank God we have multi-use fields at Bell so baseball can go up there and play when they have tryouts. And my daughter went up the next day. She found a place to play, and there was no issue. There wasn't a sunflower seed out of place. That's a multi-use field. But guess what? It never goes the other way. Well, it will, but previously, and I know 2 of you are very familiar with this, early December, Eagle Sticks tryouts, we had to go crossways on a rectangle, which really isn't great with some of the older girls, especially when the 4 baseball fields were empty. So what I'm saying on my 80 friends about, and it's great to see multi-use fields, you can move over there, you can practice, you can work out. Baseball won't even know these are multi-use fields. There is no effect to baseball. I'm not saying, and nobody's saying, reduce the amount of baseball fields, reduce capacity, This will not affect Hopewell baseball. These are multi-use fields. That is a great thing, and it's finally good to see that as part of the iteration. Now, somebody on the city council asked Tom the question, does this design meet the 2027, the master plan in terms of the number of teams? And the answer is yes. Generally, if you look at the numbers, it does. But unfortunately, what I would have liked to hear is the second part to that question. Does it meet the future needs of our parks and our fields? Because everyone in this room right here knows if 10 years down the road, we need to have active park space, oh man, I don't want to be here for that, right? So we got to look at this and say we needed to look for future park space. But again, that's why the multi-use fields is great. And now seeing that little extension, just things like that extra field space on number 12 that we were just talking about, that's a great thing because that adds the ability to work out, it adds the ability to go sideways if you have to. And so that's a great thing because in the earlier Parks and Rec Board meeting that I attended, there were conversations around putting additional features on that spot right there, like pickleball, like water features and stuff like that. But adding a field there gives the ability to go work out, to train, to practice before you get on the field. So those are the points that I want to make. Thank you very much for the time.
Thanks, John. And appreciate you being involved all the way through this. So thanks a lot for that. Conversation, discussions amongst the board.
This looks great. And like I said, having, those 4 diamonds be entirely turfed it's a game changer because then when they're not being used, if, a team has to jump over and practice or do whatever, or like we have the small-sided games could even happen over there. That's great. That adds, good options. So that's nice. And I love that they still managed to get a bunch of pickleball courts in. They got everything in, which is awesome.
Thanks, Allison. Other comments? I'll ask a question to the lacrosse folks. So is it, at some point, we're going to have to prioritize, I suspect, coming out of tonight's meeting to kind of give a forced ranking to council about after the base, in what priority did the next thing get added, right? So the question that it begs, and it follows on John's comments, and you guys brought up already, it begs the question of, now that there are 4 turf fields inside of Diamonds, is that enough warm-up practice, additional practice space that it would satisfy the needs to put 12 on a lower priority? Or does that need to be a 5th field space in this park
That's a great.
on the day it opens?
No, the way I look at this, honestly, I think a splash pad would be wonderful, but when you look at the numbers and the budgeting, I feel like it's a no-brainer to me. That needs to be put on the back burner, and that little area 12 needs to get done. Because again, we all know we're still short, we're still lacking, we still have lots of teams on a single rectangle any given night. So just to have that right off the bat and know you have more warm-up practice training space, that is, I would argue that needs to be bumped ahead of, say, a splash pad.
I definitely agree, especially for the cost difference. A splash pad is the most expensive thing. In my opinion, it would be one of the last things we would add.
Right.
And it's a very small demographic that would use it. The only other thing that I would say maybe would be neck and neck for me with turfing that 12 would actually be the pickleball courts, because I think it adds an entirely different dynamic. And it's about the same cost point, maybe a little bit, it's $100,000 less than that turf, where you're still getting grass. So you still have some use of it. I understand that if it's raining, that's kaput, but that would maybe be just the only,
right.
like,
Well,
as far as
when you're really looking at the
prioritizing.
numbers too, that splash pad, you could almost add both of those.
Correct,
at
for
the
one
same,
cost of a splash pad.
Right.
Mhm. Yep.
And axe the splash pad, because I agree. Pickleball obviously pulls in a ton of different people and is a great addition to the park. So I would argue that's equally as important too. But once they're turfing it, I feel like just keep on turfing it.
I know
Let's
that's,
just get
is
it
there
done.
any benefit to turfing it all at once?
Scott and I touched on this before the meeting while we were just chatting. You can still put in all the infrastructure for the lights because you're going to have additional space to light as well.
Sure.
So minimal. I mean, you'd have a seam that runs down that could lift, but there's seams all over turf fields. Every line is a seam. So not really. No, I don't think there's a huge disadvantage to waiting.
Okay.
No, as long as you address the lighting issues and the
Right.
fencing issues
The
and everything
infrastructure
up
to
front.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
But would all that be
And-
included in the base?
Yes.
So all the lighting infrastructure is set
Correct.
in part of the base?
It's set
Got
and
it.
then you
So it's really just the
Set it up.
turf, the
Yeah.
turf
Yeah.
grass
Yeah.
beyond that. Mhm.
and let's not forget, I think we really just need a recommendation on the plan too. Like just generally, are we happy with the plan?
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
So you can go to council and say, yeah, we like everything in here. When real numbers come back, we could probably reprioritize again.
Reprioritize, yeah.
Sure.
We might be 10, 20% off on two things that would flip flop an order.
Correct. Because I'm diving into 12 in the details, and it looks like turfing that field is $400,000.
Yeah.
Right. So if you wanted to save $400,000, you grass it to start and you turf it later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, so as you get into the weeds of slice and dicing, they're
Yeah. I mean, we could even go into design again later down the road and say all that little triangle space to the up above you could grass that and save a little more in turf too, right?
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't change anything yet now,
Yep.
right? As we're moving through the plans, but I think what we're looking for here is there anything wrong with this plan that council should consider changing, or what the consultant should consider changing prior to going to council?
No,
Because we're gonna bring this to council next month.
Yep.
For an approval, and then we'll move forward from there.
No, I think it sounded like we all kind of
Yeah.
agreed that we
Yeah.
like it. It's included all the parts. So if I had $30 million, build the whole thing
Yeah.
today, right? And
Yeah.
let's go. It'll be up to council. We can help guide them with some prioritization, but they're going to decide how it's going to get funded and how the pieces are going to line up. And as Tom said, once they approve it and you get deeper into the weeds on this, we'll start to know what each component really costs and where the trade-offs are. And
Yeah.
that'll come later.
And the way we've got it all priced out by item, when we get the actual bids back,
Right.
we can then come to this board and then to council before we approve some sort of contract.
Yep.
Right.
But how wonderful to have a really great plan that can be pieced together as we go.
Correct.
Right? That's a great
Good
that's a
option
great
from where we've
option.
been.
Yeah.
It's been a long time to get to here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any more discussion? Comments? Because I will make a motion to approve the concept as presented with all the items involved in this draft master plan tonight. The recommendation from the Parks and Rec Board to move this to the council for their approval.
Do you want that? Perhaps we take the final the one that goes to council and we talk about taking that turf field space where the bridge goes over and making that sidewalk all the way down instead of inside what we had talked about before on the bridge that goes over the road and then it
So on the
Correct,
left-hand
yeah,
side?
do you want to have that in?
Sorry,
Do you want to
correct.
have that in the final concept?
Yeah,
as
let's
a
make sure-
recommendation.
Correct. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the concept as presented with one modest amendment to take this field, whatever the middle, it's not numbered, the middle multi-purpose field and shift to the south so that the bridge exit doesn't go onto the playing surface, but instead goes into an area outside the fence. Yeah, that'd be the only change.
I was telling.
So you're just saying shift that field a little bit further
Yep.
towards the baseball fields?
Yeah, towards parking lot.
Towards the parking lot, yeah, towards the
So
baseball.
that'd be
field.
that'd
Okay.
be approve it as presented with the modest amendment to adjust the exit of the upper ramp.
So you're not ramping onto a field.
So you're not ramping onto a field,
Makes
correct?
sense.
Made a motion. Do
I
have
will
a
second that motion.
second by Allison. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
I was about to say this and you guys were in the middle of your motion. I've been talking to Whit, like, we need to number these fields.
Yeah, we do. We need to start already. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome work. I'm very happy. It's been a long, long time coming to get to this point, and this, glad to have it. So thanks. Good work, staff, Tom, public. John, thanks for your participation in all these steps. Appreciate it.
I'll actually echo that. Thank you, John.
We'll move on to item B, consideration of the continuation of existing recreation provider program partnerships, preparation for contract renewals. It's a lot.
That was about this. This is a pretty rather unique item. I haven't done this before. So we are in the middle of renewing all of our contracts, or there's a few program providers that are going from program providers to instructors. And I value this board's opinion when I go to council with a new program to have the support from the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. So rather than listing off an item for each one of our programs that we're going to be going to council for renewals with, I figured we could just talk about each program that we will be going in front of council to. And if there's any questions or issues with any of the programs, we can talk about it. Everything we're going to be presenting, staff would recommend we continue the partnerships. So I'll start, and then I'll let Thomas talk about the athletics. But I'll take a lot of Matthew's programming. Before I go any further, does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm just going to give you a quick brief synopsis on the program, what they do, and all of them will be recommended by staff to continue. But first, we've got STEM Lego. Their camps are doing great. Their classes are doing great. When a class doesn't make, there's usually 2 or 3 that stack on top of each other, and they can move those kids that didn't make into another class, and the residents are still happy. And the name kind of describes exactly what it is. They just do Lego builds, and it's an educational, fun class for kids. Next is Candy News Theater. She came and blew it out the park in her presentation. She was extremely entertaining and energetic. She brings that same energy into her classes and with the kids. And they do a 4 to 6 week class, and at the end they do a little performance for the parents. And it looks like we might be able to start doing them on the green now back here at the little stage. So that'll be great. Again, we would recommend moving forward with them. Kid Create, we've been partnered with Kid Create Art for years at this point. They're a great partner. We don't ever get complaints on any of their programs. Their summer camps do well. Their regular camps and classes do great. Their art classes are more for the younger kids, like the more basic art, painting and arts and crafts and, that kind of stuff. Next is Babysitter Boot Camp. Their stuff does amazingly well. I don't even know what else to say. Like they fill up their classes for babysitter classes.
That's awesome.
Our early summer one is, I believe, full. So no reason to not continue with that class. Art with Ronnie. So it's another art class, but she's more of the sketcher, real life drawing. A little bit older kids into teenagers. Bombay Jam is a Zumba class. Her classes are great. She has some room for her registration. Her registration is not as booming, but we're going to keep marketing her and try to get her classes going. And they're good classes. So highly recommend anyone to definitely check them out. We have a new yoga program through Kim Saunders. She's still kind of new, and so we're still ramping up her classes, but she's not canceling anything. So she's got enough registration to keep her classes going.
Good.
And then last is photography. That's one that's moving to an instructor contract. But our friend's Star Petronella, she's awesome and does great classes for adults, kids, teens. She's got summer camps and her regular camps. She has 1-day classes. If you just want to do a 1-day thing to learn how to use your cell phone better, everyone uses their cell phone for pictures. And you'd be surprised on what
Mhm.
professional quality pictures you can take, even with a basic iPhone. It doesn't have to be the Pro Max one. There's little tips and tricks you can do with your cell phone, and she does great. So that's all like the non-athletic programming that we're going to be putting forward to council here shortly. All the recent presentations that you've received, they're going to be going. You've already approved them, so we're just going to send them through.
Got it.
Matthew, I'll kick it over to you, and you can talk athletics. What'd you say? No?
Call me Matthew.
Did I say
Um,
Matthew?
Yes, you did.
My apologies.
You're
I
on
don't know where I'm
record.
at.
You're on record.
But yeah, I will touch on our athletic programs. We're also looking for recommendation renewals. Each of our athletic programs is the recreation provider agreement. No instructors fall under the athletic programs we have. First one I'll touch on is Hopewell Youth Association, which is also known as Hopewell Baseball. Our thriving youth baseball program from pre-K to 18-year-olds when we can make those teams. Obviously, we play heavily in the spring and fall with some summer opportunities as well. Eagle Sticks Lacrosse, which is our provider for girls lacrosse, both offering recreation and elite level lacrosse for girls. North Georgia Recreation, and that's our boys lacrosse program. Under the North Georgia Recreation umbrella is both Cambridge Youth Lacrosse and Towns Lacrosse. So representation from both Cambridge and Milton.
And summer camps now.
And summer camps as well, in addition to the spring and fall seasons. North Atlanta Football League offering flag and cheer, K through 5, as well as tackle football, 2nd through 5th grade. Is that correct? We have Halftime Sports running K through high school. They're year round, using every inch of gym space that we can offer them around the city. We have our Milton Mustangs Swim Club, also elementary to high school age swimmers offering programming in the summer. We have our Milton Tennis Center, which offers youth and adult programming, both at the recreational and more competitive, with some summer opportunities, as well as our instructor providing lessons. And then we have our adult programming, Rush Union, which is our adult soccer program, runs year round, continuously filling 7-versus-7 and 11-versus-11 leagues at Legacy Park. And finally, our newest program, which is not so new anymore, but it has been several years, is the Milton chapter of the Adult Petanque League, the Atlanta Petanque League, offering programming to 18 and older for adults. So we are looking for recommendation renewals on all the providers that were just listed for the athletic programs.
I apologize. I checked out for a minute. Did you catch tennis and swim?
Yep.
I did.
Good.
It's quite a list. Holy cow.
Yes.
What's that?
That's quite a list.
Just big list.
That's awesome, though.
And we have more.
Yeah.
That's just the ones we're renewing. We've got a handful of new ones that are coming too.
Right. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the continuation of the existing provider partnerships for contract renewal.
I make a motion to renew all these contracts.
A motion by Morgan,
Second.
second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Great work, Tom and Thomas and Matthew. We'll look forward to council approving all that. Item 9, city staff reports and communications.
All right. I will do it the right way this time. I'm going to break these two projects up and not assume you guys know that they're the same. So at Legacy Park, we did receive just earlier this week or end of last week, revised concepts for that 30% design. We went back to them with some edits and recommendations to change. And then we're meeting next week to go over them with the city engineer who's over the project and a handful of folks from Public Works to talk about what we like and don't like on that, and then go back to them, and then they'll push on and finish their designs. Milton City Park and Preserve, same thing. We got plans revised as well. And we're doing the same thing. We're going to be marking those up. I have a little bit more of an eye for what I'm looking at with MCPP versus the parking lot, because there's a lot more recreational components to look at. A parking lot's a parking lot to me. So there's a couple things that I've pointed out that we're going back to them with some recommendations, but this should be our last time going back to them, and then we'll be able to push out final plans. I know the $1 million question is timeline. From 30% to 100%, I don't think they need a lot of time, a couple months maybe. But it's just getting the concept 30% right, and then they can run. They've shown some confidence that they can pump out the rest quickly. But we just got to make sure we get the right plan, because it's going to be there forever, And then from there, we're going to have to time out with Legacy specifically, time out when the right time to do the work is. I mean,
insert
really,
the work.
really, you only have one time of the year. It's the summer.
Yeah.
And unless you really I'm not interested in shutting the park down during seasons. We can't. We don't have the capacity to. So we're really looking at summertime.
Is there any chance this summer, possibly?
I'm going to say no
Okay.
without knowing that answer for sure,
Sure,
but it
okay.
doesn't.
Yeah,
No,
not
it's-
likely.
It's
Okay.
not happening.
Do we continue to kind of like put stone and lay things and smooth it out, because it just gets real
We just recently put
Something.
stone between the
big
school.
giant potholes?
Yeah, we just recently did the driveway to the school because it was bad, and put some gravel down to level it back out. So we'll continue to monitor the
Okay.
parking lot in its
Okay.
current condition.
Right, that's helpful.
Okay.
Cool.
Right.
Thanks.
Next item, Wall of Fame update.
Can I kick it over to my guy, Thomas Rhodes?
Wall of Fame 2025.
Oh, yeah.
We have extended the window for nominations for this year's class to the first week of June. We were originally going to wrap it up at the end of the month, but for marketing purposes, just to help get that final push out, we are going to extend to that first week in June. I think we're going to close it down on the 8th. So anyone that comes in that's nominated after the 8th will be pushed to the 2026 class or nominations for that class. With that window closing, I'll have all the data and information that I need to create the ballots for our board to score, just like we've done in the past. So I will provide you with all that information probably in the June meeting, quickly after the window closes. And as soon as I receive those, I can begin contacting our inductees and look forward to probably announcing those names to the public in the July meeting. So.
Gotcha.
We are still scheduled for the ceremony towards the end of October. That's when our fall season wraps. We typically do it. If it doesn't align directly with like a championship Saturday, we try and do it the weekend before, just in case inclement weather. So we've got a little cushion to play with. But yeah, looking forward to getting those final nominations in for this year's class.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Miss community outreach.
Listen, it's
Emily.
been so long since I've been here.
Is
I've
it
been
Jen?
it's Jen, Michaela, whoever you want to call me.
Michaela? Oh.
I've been cooking upstairs, so I feel like I had to come and let you guys know what's on the table. So upcoming events before I get into some new initiatives and events that we're hosting. We have Splash and Bash coming up on May 24th from 11 to 2 at the club. This is Michaela's baby. She does a great job. We'll have some water slides, a few program providers out. We have a DJ. School of Rock is going to come and bring their student-led band. It's a great event. Good way to kick off the summer. The pool will be open. We have new Milton branded sunglasses, so come get them while they're hot. Moving into a more serious note, our Memorial Day ceremony is Monday, May 26th at 10 a.m. across the street at the Green.
It'll be here in council chambers if weather is bad like it was last year. But you all are invited. Please come. We do it in conjunction with our Milton Veterans Memorial Markers Association. It's a great event. Would recommend coming. And then last up in the summer, we have Red, White, and U, previously Independence Day Walking Parade and Celebration, which was a mouthful. So we rebranded to Red, White, and U. It'll be July 4th from 9 to 12 over at Broadwell. We have pushed the parade a little bit earlier, and from 10 to 12, we'll be having a foam pit party. So be there or be square. Moving into some new initiatives and programs, events that are happening. We're pairing with the Milton Library to host Bright Mind Storytime, which is going to be a special needs storytime and craft hour. It's going to be on the third Wednesday of every month. We're going to divide it up by age. So ages 6 to 9 from 3:30 to 4:30, and then ages 10 to 14 from 4:45 to 5:45. And that's going to be starting here in August, I believe. We're trying to work on our partnership with the library and really build that up. They have a lot of great programs and events we'd like to partner with. And kind of bouncing off of the special needs events, we're also going to be adding a sensory-friendly hour to Touch a Truck, as well as Pancakes with Santa. So we'll have some quiet time so that we can make sure that we're inclusive for all of our events. Other outreach initiatives that are coming up, we are in the process of building a Milton nonprofit network that will be kind of a networking opportunity for nonprofits to come together. We'll be able to host some lunch and learns, some good opportunities for them to connect with local Milton nonprofits, as well as I've been speaking with Allison on this one. For our class of 2026, we're going to work on a high school senior service recognition for seniors in the community. High school seniors, I should state that. High school seniors who have served a significant amount of hours in their high school career. So I'll be coming to you guys probably in June or July for some advisement. We have a few kinks that we're trying to work out, and I feel like you guys are the people to turn to. Next up, I told you I had a lot of things happening. So on the note of cooking, we are going to launch our first Milton Restaurant Week coming up in September. We'll work with some local restaurants to get some prefix menus going on. Really just trying to get more people to walk into those businesses and see what great food opportunities they have. So that'll be September 8th through the 14th, and we'll start getting some restaurants to sign up towards the end of the month. Last, September 13th. It's a hot date. It's going to be a great one. September 13th, we are hosting, I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to say it out loud. Last Splash Puppy Bash at the pool.
Whoa,
Yeah.
did you make him guess?
It's so fun. It's Last Splash Puppy Bash. It's going to be the cutest thing ever. So before we drain the pool for the summer, we are going to have a puppy pool party. I know.
So fun.
I'm so excited. We'll do vaccination checks. I'm going to work with a local rescue to make sure that we're properly following all safety protocols. We'll have some popsicles and some Treatos and a coffee bar for the adults because it'll be from 9 to 11 in the morning, so not too hot for the puppos. At the same time, in the parking lot, we are going to host a plant swap. We were in contact with someone from Georgia Plant Trade and Sales. She hosts this really cool event where she brings in all of these vendors. Some of them are local, some of them are just local gardeners. And there's 3 components to it. You can swap. So I grew this plant, you grew that plant, we can swap. Pottery, ceramics can come and sell. And then if you have a plant that you got to get rid of, there's also a donate table. So she runs it, she brings in all the vendors. So we'll run that in the parking lot while the puppers are having a great time splashing around in the pool. So that is my update. I feel like I spent 7 minutes talking, but any comments, questions, concerns, advisement?
I love your enthusiasm for your job.
Oh, thank you so
good.
much.
I'm very excited about all of these things.
I know. Mark your calendars.
Right.
I was
no,
making notes on my calendar. Thanks,
Mhm.
Emily.
Yeah, no, the
Good.
Milton Restaurant Week, I
That's
love
so
that because we love and frequent all of these restaurants here. And I feel like people just don't even know or don't go or don't try. And I'm like, you gotta go. They're so good. So I love that y'all are doing that. That's great.
We're excited.
And the puppy splash thing, Our pool in Maryland used to do that at the end of summer every year, and it was the biggest hit. Like everybody loved it. Their dogs loved it. The kids loved it. Like it was hysterical. And the pictures,
Oh,
you
I'm
got to have a
sure.
photographer there because the
Okay,
photos
well, Okay,
were
so there
the
is-
On
best.
that note, so as you guys know, my history is I used to teach dance. One of my old students' parents is an underwater photographer. And if she's in town, because she does travel a lot, she said, if I'm in town, I'm there. She's like, I will do it for you.
That's
She's like, you did so
awesome.
much for my kiddo. So she might come and get some underwater dog photos.
So fun.
So
love it.
very
Love
excited.
it. And then the senior award that we're working on is really cool. It'll honor like the YMSL, the NCL, and the kids that do Beta Club and all the kids that just give back and volunteer throughout their high school career. I think what an awesome way for the city to honor those students because it's really remarkable when they carve out the time to give back. So I love that.
Got some good things in the works.
Great work, Emily.
Thank
Yes.
Any other business in front of the Parks Board today? It's been an exciting meeting.
Efficient.
Yeah. Good job.
If I hear none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jason,
I'll second.
second by Morgan, popular duo today. All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion is unanimous. Thank you.
That was good. Yeah, that-